As I was thinking about what we are doing, it really is an opportunity for people to connect with their beingness. We are not conscious of the compartmentalization. We just say, this is who I am, right? Who you are is different depending on the environment that you find yourself in or the people that you find yourself connected with. So I hold myself out as an example. At 71 years old, it's been a long journey. It's been a long journey to self-acceptance. And I think it may be that way for many of us, that we look at the pieces of ourselves and decide, I can show that. No, I can't show that. Is there a danger? How deep is the danger if I show you all of me? Oh, I can show these people this part of me, and these people this part of me, and these people this part of me. And then the question is, how long before you get tired of just compartmentalizing your beingness?
Don't give me
Hey,
like
hey,
my sound
hey,
working.
hey,
What's
Carrie,
going on,
Irene.
Facebook? What's going on, Susu?
Hey, hey, how are
Oh,
you?
this is Dr. Sue to y'all, but to me it's Susu. All right. And I bet not hear nobody else calling her that but me. How is everybody doing out there in Facebook land? I see Tamika Davis, Tammy Morrison, and Megan Murray. I see y'all. Y'all didn't think I saw y'all, but look, I see y'all. I see you. What's going on? All right, that's Megan
Hey,
Marie. What's going
hey.
on, Megan? All right, so we good to be seen. I'm glad to be seen. That just means we still here. You know what I'm saying? Better 6 feet up than 6 feet down. How you doing today, Dr. Sue?
I am good. I was showing you earlier. Now, y'all know I move, right? I've been in this move thing for 3 months, packing, 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 moving, getting here with all of the boxes. I stayed in my space last night for the first time. Don't judge me. It's still got work to do, but
Yeah, I'm
this
excited.
is what it is beginning to got
It's
blinds
beginning to
up,
look a
some
lot like too much.
boxes, but I got a little
Too much.
space, y'all.
That's what I'm
It's
gonna call
coming
your house.
together. It's
Too
coming
much.
together. So that's what I'm thinking
Oh,
about.
Megan said you look lighter today, Dr.
Oh,
Sue.
girl, I feel it.
Yeah, woosah. Better days are coming. Signs still to deliver by Dr. Sue. So,
Yeah.
welcome to the late night happy hour with Carrie and Dr. Sue.
Hey, y'all. Mm,
We just come on here and just see what comes up,
comes out.
goes out.
No, let's
That.
let's say it like it really is. We
What?
come on here because we know Dr. Sue gonna tell all her business.
All business. And then my business. And apparently, her son better look out because he next. Because
His business too. But
it's
only
so
to make
funny.
a point about this thing called life. Only to
Hmm.
make a point. And so I reached out to Carrie Irene earlier and said, I've been thinking about the hurricane, and my heart and my prayers go out to everybody that's impacted, all of the families everywhere. And I know that Carrie's does too.
Mhm.
But when I was thinking about the hurricane, I really was thinking about how do we show up in life when the hurricanes come? Because they come all the time.
Mm.
And I thought back over my life, just reflecting, and there have been times when the hurricanes came and I damn near drowned, y'all. And I
Yeah.
just went, oh, I gave it up. It's like I've seen people on the news when the cameraman or the news woman is asking them. So, and I think this is such a stupid question. How do you feel? How do I feel? I've
Right.
just gone through a hurricane, right? But I always think when I hear them say, I've lost everything, I always think, wait, hold up. No, you're still kicking, you're still breathing, you're still moving. But I empathize because I remember the days when, even though I didn't say that, there were so many days that I felt that way. And so as I was thinking about this hurricane that has come through Florida, and gratefully in the area that I was in, my family and I were not impacted. But there were others who were impacted and who it will be years, if ever, before they can recover. Cities underwater, right? But as I was thinking about the Friday night live, the happy hour, I really want to talk about how we stand up when the hurricane comes, right? And I saw myself going through, even with this hurricane. And for me, the hurricane has been the move.
Yeah.
I wasn't so concerned about
Mm.
the physical hurricane that came through because honestly, as I said, it didn't really impact me. But the hurricane in my life for the last 3 months, literally for the last 3 months, has been this move. And first, it was even making the decision to move. Well, that started a year ago. So this hurricane has been brewing. Wow, right? And then the decision to actually move. When I initially made that decision, it was like this because my sister and I had an argument, right? And so my sister is now deceased, and I'm very grateful, happy, and grateful that we were able to patch up our relationship. It was the first one we ever had, y'all. My sister was 83. We never had an argument before. And that was hard. So I'm grateful that we were able to do that up, to take care of that. But what I saw in that little hurricane, that little big hurricane, was that I ran away. My initial instinct was, I don't have to deal with this. I'm not. I don't have to deal with this, and I don't have to deal with you. I'm out. I'm done. And yeah, like peace out. So when no peace, right?
Peace
And
out.
just out. And I struggle with myself because my higher self said, be the bigger person. And my human self said, well, why I got to be the bigger person? Why she can't be the big person? You know she's wrong, y'all. You know she's wrong. And I had to just really just sit with myself, sitting with source. And just come to that realization that we come to so often when we are truly honest, truly introspective. Yeah, I played a part in this.
Yeah.
So it's not about being the bigger person. It's about being in integrity. It's about staying in alignment. Really, it's
Yeah.
about doing the right thing. And so the right thing was to pick up the phone and apologize. That I watched myself watching myself because a part of my human self was saying, no, I'm not doing that. But I'm on this path, y'all, and I committed to this journey. And sometimes the road gets dark, and I don't even want to go on it. I don't want to go on it. I don't want to go down it. I don't want to go around it. I just want to go back the other way. And so with this move, my initial thought, God told me a year ago, move. I said, I don't want to do that. When hurricanes come in our lives, we have various ways that we react. Sometimes it's in anger that this hurricane is here. Sometimes it is resistance. Why me? And I am mindful when we have the why me reaction. I'm mindful of, oh, I can't think of the actor's name, but his his son went to prison for killing a man who abused his sister. And someone, hi there, and someone, the news media came to him and they asked him how did he feel? And he told them that the angel of death passed by my house last night. And I think that I can't remember the rest of what he said, but basically it was, it will pass by yours too. None of us can escape the ups and downs, the trials and tribulations. When I was a child, I used to believe in the Cinderella and they lived happily ever after. But it ain't so, y'all. And it's not that you don't live happily ever after. It is the meta message that is in our mind that I'm going to live without trouble happily ever after. And trouble, this hurricane, this storm, trouble is either big trouble or little trouble, depending on how you label it, depending on on whether you lean into it and say, God's got this and God's got me. And I'm just going to keep on going on and keep on moving through it because I know if I keep moving, I'm going to get through it. Honey, when I tell you, and I know I'm weaving in and out of stories here, intentionally so, when I tell you about these boxes that when I tell you about these boxes that I packed, my stuff, I have moved those boxes from room to room so many times, trying to get it right. The boxes ain't gonna change, you know? Why am I moving them? Why don't I just breathe and know that at some point I'm going to open every one, and when I do, it'll be the right thing. And when whatever's in that box will be the thing that I need to have in the box, the thing that I need to be dealing with at that time. But no, my son said today, Ma, just like I tell some of my other friends who, you're doing too much. And sometimes when the storm comes, we keep moving boxes. And in moving boxes, we're running to this friend and that friend and the other friend. And we are just caught up in the negativity of the situation that's called life. And so I'm going to tell you what my son told me. If you find yourself in that place, think about it. Are you really doing too much? So often we're really doing too much because these damn boxes ain't going nowhere. I can't we still got people working on the ceiling. I can't take the stuff out the boxes. I don't have anything. I gave away all my furniture. I don't have nothing to put it in. Why am I worrying about the boxes?
I'm
Come
sorry.
on
Go
now.
ahead.
It's like what when the storm comes, the thing to do, I think, and you don't have to take this if you don't want to, but I'm just talking about me now. The thing to do is just to remember to breathe and know that ain't none of this shit in your hands. None of it. And I don't mean that as a negative. And I'm not fatalistic. I'm realistic. We live
I don't
under
think I've
the
ever heard that term
delusional
before.
illusion that we have control. No, we don't. So when the storm comes, here's the thing, you know, about these storms. When the storm comes, you can be ready just to lay down and give up the ghost. But if it ain't your time, you ain't going nowhere. You ain't going nowhere. That's because, again, to the extent that you think you have control, you're delusional. I used to be delusional like that. I didn't know I was. I thought I was, really, really, really doing it.
Right.
Yeah. But So that's
Dance
what
in
I
the
have
rain.
been thinking about. How do we, are we reactive or are we proactive when the storms come? Do we lay down and give up the ghost? Or do we, yeah, we get knocked down, we might get knocked about, but we're resilient and we rise again and again, and just like the phoenix,
Yeah.
again and again and again, we rise. And so that's my monologue.
You summoning my Angelou, ain't you? Okay. Shoot, with that soliloquy. I love it. I think I'm echoing, but I'm a press through.
So what y'all think about? Carrie,
Yeah,
what you think about?
somebody dancing in the rain. I want to know who danced in the rain. That's first thing. And hey, Tammy, again, I seen you on here before. I called you out, but I don't think you was back on here yet. So what I was thinking about was just you talking about the boxes and the things that are in the boxes, and I am in that season of where I did mine a little different. It's just like I didn't even bother putting anything in boxes anymore. The things that I
Girl.
brought were just out in the open. It's like drums, a microphone, a tree, a Buddha statue, a file cabinet, a table, a salt lamp. It's like I can't even put it in boxes. So I had to be very strategic about what I wanted because I knew I had to bring it in piece
Yeah.
by piece.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's where I am in my life. It ain't nothing that is around me or even close to me right now that I'm not handpicking because I've decided to handpick me. I
Mm.
handpick me. So handpicked things are showing up. So if I am completely taking care of me and I feel something, a need or a want or a desire, it shows up. It shows up. It's not apart from me. It's an extension of me. And when I took the time to realize that the energy had to be me
Yeah.
and what I was creating in order to really get the things that I need. Because if I am utilizing my energy and my time being something that's not authentic, things are still constantly showing up. Resources are still showing up. They're just not aligning with us because they're showing up in the form of what we're presenting. But what we expect to show up is what we really want that we ain't saying or portraying. So we just go through this level of unhappiness when truly it's just the person that you created that's not you is very happy. It's getting everything it's supposed to get, but you're not happy because you're in there seeing this other persona being amplified and coming back the same. And it's just not congruent with your soul.
Yeah.
So when you start to handpick you on purpose, it doesn't matter what that is. Even if you're like, I know this gonna come back to bite me in the ass, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Okay, do that. Just know you're doing that though. You know, making sure that everything that you're bringing into you, that you're saying is you, is brought in piece by piece. Even if it is in the boxes, make sure you take everything out of the box so that if you choose to put it back in the box, you already know, okay, but you need to see all of it. You do need to see all of it. So I understand your yearning to want to take the stuff out of the boxes because you need to see what you got. Sometimes you need
Oh,
to
I
see.
know what's in my boxes.
I know you do. I
Listen,
look, theoretically speaking,
I, I, my son picked up a box and he said, books, of course. And I said, I gave away enough books to fill a room. And
Mm.
that caused me more stress and trauma than anything else. Now, I gave away a house full of furniture.
Yeah, you didn't worry about that. Don't worry about that part.
No, the only thing that mattered to me, and I gave away a lot of clothes, so that didn't matter either. But I have my books
Yeah.
and especially my metaphysical books
Oh
and
yeah.
my
Oh yeah. The
jewelry
library.
supplies and my art supplies. It's like
Yeah.
that. That was all that mattered.
Yeah.
And as long as that and my laptop computer,
Yeah. Right.
my printer.
Yeah.
So it's like I know what's in my boxes, but like you, I have been very intentional. I have been very intentional for years, actually. I remember in 2006, I bought a house, and I bought the house because somebody else wanted the house, but it wasn't a house that made me happy. And then in 2010, I gave that house up because there was no happiness in the house.
Uh-huh.
And at that point, I started to downsize, and I told myself I was on a 10-year plan, right?
Uh-huh.
And I have since 2010, I literally had gotten to the point where this last year before moving here, I lived in one room. I shared an apartment with a couple. They were never there, which was really cool for me. But technically, I lived in one room because I had gotten rid of all of the things that were no longer important.
Right.
And I think that and when I say gotten rid of, not only did I relinquish physical things, intangible things, relationships also were given up.
Yeah.
Some of them caused me a lot of pain, but to release. But the reality is that when you are, whether you're going through the storm or whether you're walking on the sunny side of the mountain, not everybody can go with you.
Yeah.
And the key to having that everlasting joy is to stay in alignment. And staying in alignment means that you are intentional. You're intentional about who you allow to share your space, share your time, share your energy, share your mind.
Yeah. All energy, every bit of it. That's and we're gonna talk about some real talk right now. I think that is one of the most difficult limbo points of being single is knowing that when you really understand energy, it's hard to start the process because you're just like, oh, you're like I feel, you feel energy from people, and you can feel at that point when it starts to be like a or a it's just you won't. Not that it can't be, but when you really start to understand energy and that you are going to be sharing energy, transmuting energy, having to filter energy, which can be exhausting. We can always choose happiness. If we got to choose happiness 24 hours a day intentionally, you know, you're using a lot of energy. So it's like when you start to really see these things, it's hard to go to go out the house, honestly, to go even to the grocery store because you don't want to be bothered sometimes with a lot of unnecessary energy transfer.
Yeah.
But then it becomes the practice of where I am is, you know, this is so bizarre because this is going like parallel to a conversation I had with someone today about them being out in public and having to be a good steward of their energy and not just give energy because you have the capacity, but be a good steward in the way of not giving too much to someone who needs to realize, who's not even in a state to realize that they even have any energy or power. So now, you have added to the codependency of energy transfer for someone versus just allowing to be a space within the event.
Yeah.
You don't always have to. That's so crazy. Because I didn't see it at the time when she was saying it. But yeah, but that's the thing though. It's like you have to know how to be a good steward of your energy in all situations, whether it's work. You go to work and come home. Oh God, TGI Friday. You can't stand the place, the people on your nerves. You gotta be like, okay, I am jumping onto someone else's energy plane.
Oh, please. I love the way you said that. Someone else's
Willingly, like
energy train.
like, like let me go over here. when all I have to do is just stay seated in my center of self and be like, I'm fine, actually. I'm actually fine. Did I get it all done? No, I didn't. Did you do your best? Absolutely, I did. That's all I got. And I should be happy about that and proud of that because I do a good job, just different things. But we need to apply this, and I am learning. I'm not saying anyone needs to do anything. I am learning that I must apply that to everything. Be a good steward with my energy at home. When I'm washing dishes, really be present washing dishes. One part of the reason why it's hard for me to focus, especially being diagnosed by someone who don't know me, that I have ADD, ADHD, and dyslexia. But if I know myself, I don't need, first of all, a label or a diagnosis. I just need to pay attention to myself.
Mhm.
Am I fostering a lack of attention by having the music on, having the TV on, having this on, having the I see these things. So I have to be intentional about soothing my mind just as much as
Mhm.
I am stimulating. When it's time to stimulate my mind, yeah, I have everything on. But I need to know when it's time to do that or when it's not time to do that. I have to see where the energy starts to rise in certain areas and when I need to tone it back down. Or if it's getting too low and I'm like, oh,
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
can't stay
Mhm.
there too long, and just feeling, making sure that I am in control of the level of the balance of energy in my body, which is
Mhm.
why I talk about the chakras so much. Because
Mhm.
alignment doesn't always look like,
Mm-mm.
sometimes alignment
No,
looks like you're doing the hula hoop.
I was gonna say it is a dance. It's a
It
dance
is.
because
Oh,
you don't. I mean, as
it is a
long
dance.
as you continue to live and breathe,
Yeah.
life's gonna happen. It's gonna
Yeah.
happen. And it pulls you to the left and it pulls you to the right and it pulls you to the front and it pulls you to the back. And so you're just doing that dance of trying to stay centered, but and sometimes you hit it. And sometimes you hit it for a little period, right? But don't get it twisted because you ain't gonna stay there. Something else is going to happen that's going to pull you one way or the other. And the question is, how will you? I'm stuck on the storm thing, y'all. How will you stand in the storm? How will you rebound in the storm?
Oh,
Because
you dance
how you do that
flash.
is very indicative of whether your chakras are balanced, whether your auras are
Mhm.
clear, whether you understand that everything is energy. It's all energy. And I love what you said about being good stewards of our energy. And I'm going to say it, an aspect of this, I'm going to say it in a different way. Mind your own business, because that ain't none of your business. Stay out of them other people's stuff. Yes, I know you love them. Yes, I know you care. Yes, I know you want the best for them. But you don't know what source has for them. They may have to go through some things in order to get to some things. Because when
Yeah.
you think about it, you had to go through some things. I had to go through some
Exactly what
things.
I was
We
thinking.
all got to go through some things in order to get to some other things. So when you are not being a good steward of your energy, when you are creating a codependent situation, then the old folks say you blocking somebody's blessing. And I'm going to say you are interfering with their spiritual journey because they can't learn what they're here to learn. They can't have the experiences that they're here to have. And if you're the one that's being the recipient of the energy, you got to think about how is that impacting you in your journey? Is it causing you to delay doing what you know you're here to do? Is it causing you to delay even seeking answers to questions that your heart is asking, but your mind won't allow you to process? Be good stewards of the energy.
That your mind won't allow you to process. Huh. So what's that mean?
What does it mean?
Mm.
We tell ourselves stories. Stories are so powerful. Stories are the most effective way to learn things. And we learn them early on.
Ah.
Early on.
Girl,
As
I'm
kids,
sorry. I
as
started shaking that water and the lid wasn't all the way on.
a little a 1-year-old child is a great storyteller. in his or her own way. And so we learn these stories, we learn how to tell them, and we spin them so deeply in the subconscious mind that the conscious mind will not process what the subconscious mind will not allow it to see. 95% of our behavior is based on subconscious programming.
Mm-hmm.
And we think that we think it's just the opposite. We think that it's 95% conscious, but it's really not. It is all of those things and experiences that you've had, the happy times, the sad times, the good times, the bad times, your mama's times, your daddy's times, your great, all of those times, your friends' times, all of that is buried in the subconscious mind. And so there, when we the statement that your mind won't allow you to process certain things, the subconscious mind is wrote. This comes back to being intentional. The subconscious mind rules. And if you want to know how it rules, watch yourself and then ask yourself, why did I do that? Why did I have that thought? Where did it come from? And I can assure you, as I can assure me, probably 9.5 times out of 10, it's not your thought. You can trace it to your mama. You can trace it to her mama's mama. You can trace it to someone else. You can trace it to a show that you saw on TV. You can trace it to these public figures that we interact with like we know them when we really don't. They're our family, they are our best friend. No, all of that is what they call grist. I think that's the word, grist for the meal. All of that goes into the meal of our subconscious mind. And when the conscious mind is trying to process certain information, it has to sift through that. But the subconscious mind is so strong, many times it will only allow you to see just a tiny sliver. And so you really have to be intentional about being introspective. That was a lot of words. Did that make sense?
So silly, because my first response was to say it stinks, but I knew, but I had to say it because it was just too funny. But that's the first thing I thought of, because it's we love, oh, do we love what the garbage disposal does? But no one wants to go in there. Oh, if it's not working, it's the worst thing ever. Like when you got used to using a garbage disposal, if it's not working, it's the worst thing ever, because then you start to smell it, because it's not in constant motion, you know. But everything that's filtered through it typically goes away from us. But it gets clogged every so often, no matter how clean you keep it. And every so often you start to get a waft of what's down there. That's what it's like in the subconscious. That's
Yeah.
where the ooey of the gooey of the darkest of the moldy lives. And if we are not good stewards of our energy to filter through those things and let that stink not disgust you. Let the stink teach you about you. It's just saying, hey, you got something down here. It ain't gonna smell no better next time.
Yeah, I think it's so important
Yeah.
to be open. I think that traditional society, happy Friday, traditionally society has taught us or has taught that we should be very close to things that are new, or to things that are new to us, new experiences. Be timid, be afraid, be very afraid. But what I have come to understand, and so I encourage you to be open to new ways of thinking, new ways of being, because my journey, and it's just my journey, but my journey has taken me way deep into the metaphysics, to a place of understanding that we have always been and we will always be. But with that comes the knowledge that we're one. And so all your stuff, anytime we're in contact in any kind of way, I'm picking up on your energy. Going back to what Carrie Irene was saying, we have to be very intentional about who we give our energy to and who we take it from, because all of it is going into us physically, mentally, in every way. We are embodying all that these people have. It's like in law enforcement, there is a rule of transference. When two things, a law of transference, two things come together, they will leave something and take something away. For example, if there are two cars are in an accident, a red car and a blue
Yep.
car, both of them will have the paint of the other one on them. That is the same way that it works with the subconscious mind. When you come into contact with anything, it doesn't matter whether it's a magazine cover or you're scrolling on your, and this is why you have to be really careful about what you scroll on Google and all that other stuff, because you're imprinting your subconscious mind. You're imprinting it, right? And then when you start having these conversations or these experiences and these words start coming out of your mouth, the question is, whose words are there? Because many times one or two of them may be your words, but you have picked up on somebody else's whole way of thinking and it ain't yours. And that's okay, as long as you are conscious of that is what you want and that's what you're doing. But so many of us are not. And I say I include us because I was that way. It is about being, you have to learn. No, let me delete that you. I I had to learn how to be very conscious of who I was being, how I was being,
Mm,
when I was being, and why I was
mm,
being. And then I had to ask myself in all of those, is this the way you want to be?
mm.
And sometimes the answer was yes, and sometimes the answer was no, and sometimes the answer was, hell, I don't know. I don't know. This is all I got right now. I just need to work through it. I need to work through it. That's about life, working through it. But what is important is I knew what wasn't mine. I knew what was, and I knew what I didn't know. And so I was open to learning in all of those areas. We are, whether we like it or not, and some people will say, and I've said myself, I'm tired of learning stuff. But the reality is, you will continue to learn until you die. Now, are you going to embrace it happily with open mind and open heart, seeing what you can see, learning what you can learn, knowing what you can know? Or are you going to be resistant? Life is so much more fun when oh, what am I learning today? Yeah. And strive to learn at least one new thing every day.
That NDRE song, "Life is a journey, not a destination. There are no mistakes, just chances we've taken." And I'm like, yeah, it's just don't nobody know what. Uh, uh, I mean, okay, we wake up today. It's September the 1st, 2023, a day that's never even existed before. And we are stressed out because it didn't go the way we planned it to go. You had nothing to compare September 1st, 2023 to. I don't have anything to compare me to in this day. And I'm going to try to compare you to what you were yesterday. I don't. How many times have we heard the story of like just one day, all of a sudden, I just this? Not epiphanies aren't the only thing that happen like that. Assholes happen like that too, y'all. Sometimes people have been like great their whole life, and just one day they wake up and they're like, "Fuck it, I'm just going." You know what I mean? And but we hold people to these things, but that's an extreme. But what about those slight things that happen? What about the things that have been building up inside of what about their garbage disposal? They're getting wafts of things. They're upset with their own stench. They're dealing with their own journey.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
having their own enlightenments. They're expanding themselves. And sometimes they don't care about your expanding because they got to worry about their own. And I think that's another thing we get wrapped up in. We're like, they don't even care about me. Well, baby, they trying to care about them.
Listen, one thing that I learned is I am never as important to people as I think I am, right? Because I think that
That's
I
so
ought to
good.
be top of Carrie Irene's mind every day, all the time. Now, the reality is that Carrie has her own stuff going on. And yeah, I'm in there somewhere, but I can assure, and sometimes I'm at the top, but not the way I think I should be. And so when we understand that everybody thinks that that they should be
Yeah,
at the top of somebody else's
yeah,
mind,
yeah.
but we all got stuff, y'all. We all got stuff.
Oh,
And,
yeah,
and sometimes I
yeah,
just don't have room to put you at the top.
yeah,
Heck,
yeah.
sometimes I can't even put me at the top. Sometimes here's the hurricane. Sometimes I'm just, or the
Ooh,
tornado, and
flying in the wind, trying to hold on to some solid.
I'm holding on tight, just be,
Oh, shit.
trying to be. So yeah,
What's
we're
that?
never as important as we
Brandy.
think we are, but that is a trait or a characteristic of our humanness that we always want to be elevated.
Yeah,
And I think the a way to deal with that is to
ain't
turn
that
that
pretty?
energy inward, right? Let me be at the top of my own mind. Let
Mm-hmm.
me do what I need to do to love me. Let me do
Yeah,
what I need to do to transform me. Let
yeah,
me do what I need to do to grow me. And yeah, I notice that I'm not saying anything about being static because life is not static.
yeah,
You will change whether you want to or not. So
yeah,
you can change for the better or you can change for the worse, but you will not stay the
yeah.
same. Every breath is a change. There is that old cliche which is so true. The only thing that is true is change. Change will happen. So if you I used to be so resistant. I used to say, I hate change, I hate change. But that didn't stop change from happening. That didn't keep me from having to deal with it. The only thing it did was make me unhappy. And I still had to deal with the damn change. So I'm just saying, right? Check yourself as I check myself, and we check ourselves. When the storms of life come, and they can be tiny and they can be huge, you get to label them, whether they're big or little. You get to label them. But when the storm comes, how are you responding? Or are you reacting? I'm always in awe when the storms are coming, the hurricanes and the thunderstorms, the meteorologists, and sometimes they're wrong, but often they're right, right? They will tell us about these patterns, these things that are going to be happening. Hello, Angelique. And they'll tell us about these things. And then as the days get closer and the weather gets closer to happening, the governor will issue a state of emergency. And then I'm always curious. I'm like the archaeologist, I should say, or the sociologist. And I'm always curious about people who
yeah.
choose to stay in the storm, or people who, like I with this latest hurricane, I saw. I didn't read the article, but I glimpsed a video about a person who the Coast Guard or somebody had lifeguards had to rescue him because he decided to go out and surf in the
I
ocean.
say go, go, go. I'm like this. I'm like this.
So I'm always curious about people who do things like that, and that is a way of dealing with the storm.
Yeah, it is. It is. It is.
I'm
It is.
curious because I just don't understand. And I always hear myself, the inner voice asking, well, what were they thinking? And then I hear this louder voice going, they weren't thinking, but
Well,
they
maybe
were.
they were.
They
Oh, they
were.
definitely were. And if not thinking, they were feeling, which is just thought without thought, just pure vibrational phase. So The
I'm
thing
not
is,
always in
though,
awe.
I remember being in Myrtle Beach, and I remember being drunk off my ass and knowing good damn well I couldn't swim, but something in the ocean would call me sometimes, and I would go out there. And it wasn't a matter of me being uh, daring. I didn't see it as being daring. I didn't see it as being a rebel. I didn't see it as being irresponsible. I saw it as being obedient. You know, there's no telling sometimes what causes someone to go into the deep of the dark, knowing they don't have the tools that they should have, like swimming lessons. Did not,
That's
could
another
not, still
storm right
don't.
there.
But sometimes, and I'm using that as an analogy. I look back now and what I do it now in the call. I don't know if I was called. I don't know. I didn't have that then. I felt that then, but it was a midst of such chaos around me and drunkenness and high as hell and not happy with myself, not being my authentic self, um, doing
Anything might
anything.
have been calling you
Right,
then.
right. Well, exactly. However, what I remember is not how I got there, but how I felt there, and it was just a knowing that I was protected. And I feel like sometimes it takes that for certain people in order for them to realize I really am taken care
Yeah.
of. I really, really am. Like when I started on my journey, and I was like, there's so many things that I would just do. And it wasn't just because I was trying to be rebellious or, you know, my friends over there hooping and hollering and yelling, but I'm drifting and I'm like just feeling something all the time, this calling. But then it started to transfer in ways of like stability, mental stability, emotional stability, and things happening around me, violent things happening around me. And then it had to be again. Now, what's calling me to be in this position, because I felt a pulling to everywhere I've been, every relationship, every job, every instance, every this, every that, every whatever. I felt a drawing to everything because I've been obedient for a long time.
Yeah.
But sometimes we find ourselves in positions where we're like, what is this though?
Mhm, mhm.
Why did I get drawn here? But every time without fail, I still see the darkness. I still feel the fear. I enter in these situations that are uncomfortable to get a walk, to see what's down there.
Mhm.
Because eventually I'll start to enter into situations where nothing affects me that way if there's nothing else to waft up. So you're being drawn to the places that wants to be seen, that wants light shared. It doesn't matter how nasty or ooky or dirty or stinky it
Yeah.
is. It's just wanting the respect of being seen and filtered like everything else.
It's
Woo.
gotta come out. It's gotta come out.
Stinky, stinky, stinky.
What are the people saying in the comments? What y'all saying, y'all?
Oh, Angelique said, I get it, Carrie. I get that. I'm glad you get that. What we think will happen isn't always what the reality is. And that is so true. Someone earlier was saying that they love change, especially big change. Who is that? Who like change like that? Like on such a broad scale.
Well,
Uh,
I
I don't know.
anymore,
Afria was in here. Hey, Afria.
anymore. I love to say that I love change, but I don't know. Saying I love it and actually loving it it just
Yeah,
depends. It
yeah,
depends.
yeah, yeah. It does.
But having said that,
But can you finish
like it,
that statement
listen,
though?
like it or not,
Finish that statement though. It depends on what?
it depends on whether I think it's positive or negative,
Depends on
right?
you.
And
It
and and
depends
and
on
and,
you.
and whether I think it
Brandy said that.
re- what I think it is depends on past experiences that are analogous to whatever is about to happen, right? And the lens of the past experiences that I'm looking at. And if I haven't had this experience, but someone else has had it and they experienced it in what I think is a negative way, then I got that kind of resistance. Like, because I
Mm,
don't want, I see what happened to her.
And that's
I don't
one
want none of
person
that.
out of 7.8 billion people that it had to do.
Like, I don't want none of that. But here's the thing. What I know is that just because it happened that way for you doesn't mean that it's going to happen that way for me.
Got that
It
right.
may be that that experience is just the experience I need in order to be elevated to the next level, whatever that means.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. There's this song by Black, and it says, "When you go, don't act like the last one did you the same way." And that's what that reminded me of. Like, when just us taking our own selves, for instance, different things that we go through. We go through them as a expanded being of who we were, whether it's we left something or whether we picked something up. Because, like you said, it's the law of transference. Sometimes we be in the season of shedding too. So still, we're not showing up into certain situations and certain things the same way. And it's a beautiful thing, so that we truly can wake up at tomorrow and not say, this is what Saturday looked like. No, just wake up and like, let's see what Saturday looks like. Let's see what it looks like, and it'll start to show out for you,
Yeah.
because it's not having to be up against and compete with what you think Saturday is supposed to be. Yeah. Happy Saturday Eve.
I know. I was just thinking when I was a kid, I thought Saturday was supposed to be fun, just fun.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
and
right.
listen, and my mama bust my bubble every time because we Saturday was get up early, just like I'm going to school. Get up, clean up. Like, really?
And you still thought Saturday was supposed to be fun, huh?
It's the weekend. It is the end of the week. Yeah. Saturday is a chill
Tammy
day.
agree. Tammy agree.
We didn't chill at my house. We got up, we had yard work,
No.
housework, cooking, grocery shopping. It's like I hated Saturday because I
Yeah.
knew, but on Sunday I had fun because I could go to church and play.
Yeah. I know. Church was for playing for sure. But 100% sure. If you didn't play at church, what church did you go to? Because all the kids in my church was jumping off the porch, spitting competitions, running around, sneaking upstairs
Yeah.
and looking, see if we can find a snake. Like, just all over the place. We were all over the place. Oh
Yeah.
my God. And because I was the preacher's daughter, I could get us like back in the office to get candy. And like we going through the cabinets in the kitchen. We getting the old communion bread and drinking all the juice. Oh my God.
You drank the communion juice, girl?
Girl, yes. And the cups, like when
Ooh,
people drink their juice, if they had a little corner left, I go and slurp all of them.
look here. You gonna burn in hell drinking.
Drinking wine, wine, drinking wine.
Drinking the
But
communion juice.
drinking members, drinking free is running from the root of a tender
Okay,
tree.
let me splash some holy water on you. Bring you back.
I'm back, y'all. I'm back. I'm back.
This has been
Oh
fun. I've
man.
enjoyed this conversation.
As always. As oh, she said she did that too. That's Megan Marie. Oh man, this is always fun. It's always a good time. It's very energy filtering this space. You can come and let some things go and pick some things up. Like we were talking about earlier, it's an energy transference, and I like this space. It is a safe space, and I really enjoyed the energy in the room tonight. I don't know. I felt it. I don't know. I couldn't keep my breath regulated. So it was good tonight. And I felt like everyone who listened, even if just for a minute, took something good and left something for somebody else, and just energetically. So thank you guys for being here with us for the late night happy hour with Carrie,
Ooh.
Irene, and Dr. Sue.
I so look
Word
forward
from
to
good
Friday
comes out.
nights.
I know it's such a good space.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's your final thoughts, Dr. Sue?
Don't be afraid of the storm.
Mm.
Know that the storm is cleansing and clears away all of the debris that you no longer need in your life, even that you may not be aware of. I too like to think of not just hurricanes, but tornadoes. And they tell me that, now I don't know this, but they tell me that in the center of the storm, there's a place of peace and calmness.
Mm-hmm.
And when the storms of life come, and they will, seek the peace and the calmness that comes from staying connected, that comes from being in alignment. And as we said, alignment for most of us is not a straight line. It's
Mm-hmm.
not vertical. There's got some wiggle and some movement, some to the left, some to the right, front, back, but pretty much just stay in the center. And as the old folks say, hold on to God's unchanging hand. And I'm going to say
Ah.
you can change that word God to anything you want, but hold on to what you know. And that's where your strength comes from, and the resilience and the knowing, when you know in your soul that regardless of what happens, I am okay. I'm okay.
Mhm. I love that. So we're gonna close with this quote, this comment by Megan Marie. He says it because you brought up tornado, and it reminded me of this that was posted earlier. And it says, I use the analogy of a tornado. During the tornado that went through my life, and yeah, ripped every materialistic thing from me. Yeah, I bitched at first, then I became thankful as it has made me realize what was important
Yeah.
to me. And that
Yeah.
is so important because when you realize um, what what is when you take everything out of the box and you look at it, you realize some things could have just been left behind. But instead of wasting the time and thinking about that, just start your discard pile and
Mm.
make plans to get rid of it. Sometimes making plans to get rid of that discard pile looks like therapy. Sometimes it looks like coaching. Sometimes it looks like a retreat. Sometimes it looks like a class. Sometimes it looks like a workshop. Sometimes it looks like a walk. Sometimes it looks like a gym membership. Sometimes it looks like a church membership. Sometimes it looks like a phone call to your child.
Mm. Sometimes it looks like just reminding yourself to breathe.
Yeah.
Just
Oh, yeah.
breathe.
Yeah. So that's what I leave with you. So I hope everybody has a great night. And I just want to say that I love you and ain't nothing you can do about it. Night, night.
Me too, me too. Mm. As I was thinking about what we are doing, it really is an opportunity for people to connect with their beingness. We are not conscious of the compartmentalization. We just say, this is who I am, right? Who you are is different depending on the environment that you find yourself in or the people that you find yourself connected with. So I hold myself out as an example. At 71 years old, it's been a long journey. It's been a long journey to self-acceptance. And I think it may be that way for many of us, that we look at the pieces of ourselves and decide, I can show that. No, I can't show that. Is there a danger? How deep is the danger if I show you all of me? Oh, I can show these people this part of me, and these people this part of me, and these people this part of me. And then the question is, how long before you get tired of just compartmentalizing your beingness.